Dear DA, how can I leverage my data extension values to personalize the copy in my emails? Thanks! I love this question. So what we'll review today is how to personalize your email copy from your data extension values using AMScript. Second, we'll learn how to create a dynamic subject line based on a data extension value. And third, we'll preview and test the email to confirm your dynamic content has populated correctly. Let's take a look.
In this video, we're going to be reviewing how you can leverage data extension values to create personalized copy within your email builds. And my demo here is an example of a subscription renewal email. So this is if I wanted to send an email out to subscribers for a specific publication to let them know that their renewal deadline is coming up. And what I want to do first is come to my copy block that I'd like to personalize and click into the editing window. Where you're going to want to look to begin to input values from your data extension is in this little icon with the person right here in the right-hand side of this editing window. So if I click the drop-down arrow here, we'll see that I have my data source selected already, but I'll just walk through this as if I was selecting it for the first time. So I click choose a new data source and I essentially navigate to my sendable data extension. In this case, I have this Margaret_demo data extension. You'll know that you're pointing to the right data source when you see the name of your data extension reflected in this heading right here. And then below that, you'll see all of the column headers from your data extension. So I'll pivot into another window so you have the ability to see here is my data extension, and these are all of the values that exist in my sendable data extension. So now we're going to look at how you have the ability to input those values into your email as dynamic content. So if I want to begin my email with a first name greeting, I would click that first name value in the dropdown, and what this is going to do is pull the first name of every single record I contact. So when the email deploys, it's going to render the email individually for each recipient and populate this first name value before deploying the email to that recipient. So I would receive this email and it would have my first name here. The way that you know that this is a dynamic value are these % values. These values indicate that we're looking at AMPscript, which is Marketing Cloud's proprietary scripting language that's used to personalize and add dynamic content within Marketing Cloud. Now I'll go ahead and start writing out the rest of my greeting, but I do just want to mention before moving on, for each of the values that you're using in your email, you're going to want to make absolutely certain that you do have a value populated for every single recipient of this email. Otherwise, you risk sending the dreaded high space comma, which we all hate to receive, and especially as digital marketers, we would hate to be deploying out to any of our subscribers. Next, I'm going to go ahead and spell out some additional copy to show how you can use the values in your data extension to further personalize. So in this email, I want to say, thank you for subscribing to, and then I'll click this drop-down window and I will click the subscription field because this is where I'm housing the subscription information for each subscriber. Thank you for subscribing to subscription for the past subscription duration _years. And this, of course, is just an example, but if I was actually going to be deploying this email, I would be concerned about this dynamic value of years followed by the word years, because it would be possible that I had someone who had only been a subscriber for 1 year, in which case it wouldn't make sense to have it say for the past 1 years. So just keep in mind things like that as you're applying dynamic content to your emails. We are reaching out today to notify you that your subscription deadline is coming up soon. Please renew by, and I'll click in here again and I'll see I have this field for renewal date. Please renew by renewal date to keep receiving our amazing content. Thanks. All right. So now that I have my copy ready, the next thing I want to call attention to is the subject line. So you'll see here I have renew subscription, but I do also have the ability to use dynamic content within my subject line as well. If I'd like to include the name of the subscription that is needing to be renewed, what I would do is come in here and you'll see my data source of Margaret_demo is still reflected in this dropdown. And we could also include the subscription name here. So we would say renew your blank subscription. Additionally, I want to call attention to this feature. So if you click into this lightning bolt, you also have the ability to create dynamic subject rules. So if I wanted to, I could click create rule, and based on a data extension, which I'll again select as my sendable data extension, although it doesn't have to be your sendable data extension, you can use any data to base these rules off of. If I wanted to have a specific subject for, let's say, the additive, so if someone's subscription value is equal to the additive, then I'll want them to receive this subject. So you'll see that the subject line is a little bit different from my standard one, and if anyone meets this criteria, they're going to be receiving this subject line if their subscription is equal to the additive. So with that, I'll go ahead and click Save. And over here on the right, you'll see this icon that indicates that there is a dynamic rule populating subject line. And I will move along to preview and test. So in order to preview my content, I'll click in here and select my sendable data extension, and I'll select a record. So now you'll see that this preview window on the right is leveraging the values that exist in my sendable data extension to populate these values. So now it says, "Hi Margaret, thank you for subscribing to DA Monthly for the past 4 years. We're reaching out today to notify you your subscription renewal deadline is coming up soon. Please renew by this date to keep receiving our amazing content." You'll also see up here in the subject line this renew your DA Monthly subscription. If I click to the right and switch to a new record to preview my email based off of, you'll see that all of this content has changed to reflect the values for this individual subscriber in my sendable data extension. So here you'll see that subject line that I set up with that rule. Please renew your subscription to the additive today. So it's looking at Tim Allen, and he has a subscription to the additive. So that dynamic rule that I set up is populating that different subject line for him. And then down here, the dynamic values are populating to reflect this subscriber's specific information. So hopefully this is helpful as you're starting to build out emails that leverage your customer data available to you in your sendable data extensions to create personalized dynamic copy.
Isn't it great how personalized and dynamic an email can get? We first looked into personalizing copy in your email. We reviewed where you can see your data extension values and how to use these values to craft your email message. Second, we created a dynamic subject line based on rules for different segments. And third, we previewed and tested the email to check our work and see what it looks like for a single subscriber. Thanks for joining. For more quick tips, like our channel below.